All right, in this episode, we talk about bicep pain,
Places you should be sore.
and other places you shouldn't be sore in. All right, Brent Porcio, Stephen Godani, the at Top Velocity hashtag Pitching Tips Show, where you go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you ask your question at Top Velocity hashtag Pitching Tips. Anything on pitching, anything we do here at Top Velocity, we're going to answer it on the show. And also share, subscribe, promote the video for us so we can keep this show going, which we're having fun doing. So we got a long question today, but what's the question for today?
When I pitch, I start to experience pain in my upper bicep where it connects to my pectoralis. At first, I thought it was a lack of stamina. My muscles were getting tired. Then I watched myself pitch, and I think it is due to poor form, which got me thinking, what muscles are being used when pitching?
All right, stop at the first question.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about the muscles used in pitching, or the ones he's talking about in the bicep connecting into the shoulder. Okay, so the bicep decelerates the forearm. All right, so of course, in throwing, we could put our arm in positions to where, if we were early trunk rotating, hyperangulating, we could hit that area. We could put some excessive torque on the bicep through that. But a lot of it, I believe, comes from the deceleration. A lot of guys, because they think curling is beach muscles and that they shouldn't do that, they completely neglect the biceps. And the bicep needs to be strong because it needs to decelerate all the fast internal rotation pronation speeds of the arm after pitch release, which is a really, really heavy load. So if you go into a season with a weak bicep, and then on top of that, you don't have great mechanics and your arm's having to do a lot of the deceleration, you're gonna wind up with pain. And what happens is it'll start to just fatigue and knot up on you. And then the next time you throw, it starts pulling where it connects to the bone. And then you start getting all that pain within the joint, either down here in the elbow or up here in the shoulder. So what do we do is, it's a combination of all three. I always say, ASMI said most injuries comes from poor mechanics, poor physical fitness, and overuse. So to get out of the overuse, you need to stop pitching or slow down your pitching. And then you need to, of course, develop better mechanics. And then the physical fitness is also the other thing that needs to be developed. So you need to strengthen the arm. So you do need bicep curls and you do need tricep extensions, but that's not the end of the story. Just like our other videos, you got to develop the whole body. You got to bring the legs in, develop the legs so you don't want to overcompensate with the arm. Then you got to get the arm muscle strong enough to handle the torques and loads. Then you got to get the biomechanics, so your mechanics refined and efficient enough so the arm's not taking all the deceleration forces. And then now you're going down the right road. So unfortunately, if you're someone in season complaining about bicep and arm pain, shoulder pain, it's a combination of all that. Poor physical fitness, poor mechanics, and overuse. So you're in a place to where now you got to stop throwing. Now you got to redevelop everything and relearn things to get to a better place. So unfortunately, everybody wants a quick fix at that point, and there really is no quick fix. Yeah, you can go. I suggest go get a massage and getting a good routine to help it heal. Sleep, eat well, and all that. That can have an effect on it, get you back playing again. But it's really hard when you're in that place to make a quick fix and get back to pitching. That usually doesn't happen. So what guys do is they usually put in painkillers and they hide the pain and they fight through it, and hopefully they don't tear something. Then the season ends, and hopefully they start over and do everything right, like we said. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a lot about what Brent said about how you probably just don't have the right physical fitness and the right mechanics to do it. Like, don't be fooled. The pitching is a whole body movement, and when you're using the whole kinetic chain, that's going to take a lot of stress off the arm. But from right now, it just kind of sounds like you're probably not strong enough to take the loads you're putting on it, and you're probably not using the kinetic chain efficiently. So I would recommend just kind of figure out how to start using your whole body to create velocity and try to take some of the stress off the arm, build some power in the legs, but don't just stop at the legs. Like you said, that's just one piece of the puzzle. So a lot of people neglect the upper body and the arms, but you need to have a strong, explosive upper body to be able to maintain the health in the arm from the stress that you're putting on it when you're throwing.
Yeah, like I said, just because you do a lot of resistance bands, light dumbbell shoulder work. Don't think that's enough to keep your arm protected. It's not enough at all. That's just a piece of the puzzle as well. You know, you've got big muscle groups that need to take a lot of the loads. If not, the little muscle groups take it, and then they get torn down quickly. You need a better mechanic. So the point is, if just because you're doing some type of shoulder exercise every other day is not enough to say you should be healthy. That's not how it works. And you need to learn a total body approach like we do here at Top Velocity with our 3X pitching velocity program. It gives you a comprehensive total body approach to developing the high velocity pitcher, to not only being able to throw hard, but being able to handle it a day in and day out. What's the second half of the question?
At first I thought it was a lack of stamina, my muscles were getting tired, then I watched myself pitch, and I think it's due to poor form, which got me thinking, what muscles are being used when pitching? Obviously after excessive muscle use they will tire. Which muscles should be sore after a day of pitching?
Okay, what muscles should be sore is a good question. Yeah, you're gonna have some type of, you know, bicep, tricep soreness, high tricep soreness. Now we go into the posterior side of the shoulder. You know, all the traps from protecting the scaps get sore. The lats get sore because that's an accelerator, decelerator, so you get that deep lat soreness, which actually is a really good soreness because studies show high velocity pitchers use more lat in their throws. Low velocity pitchers use more rotator cuff in their throws, and that has to do with the biomechanical movement, mainly linked to hip to shoulder separation. But you really want that deep lat soreness, not so much rotator cuff soreness, not so much high posterior chain, supraspinatus, infraspinatus. You know, so I like to feel it in the traps. I like to feel it in the lats. Those are good soreness. You're going to get some pec soreness as well. And like I said, with the arms, you'll get some forearm soreness, but definitely less soreness in the small muscle groups. We want bigger, deeper soreness in the big muscle groups because we want them handling the loads. But that's a good question. Hopefully we answered that. That was a long tweet. Thanks to Nathan. And if you have a question, go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and at Top Velocity, #pitching tips. Ask your question and we'll answer it on the show.
You have one more part.
And I had one more part. What did I miss?
Does excessive pain in the wrong muscle mean you're more prone to injury?
Yeah, well, that's a good point too. Excessive pain. So if my bicep every time is just like overly sore and in pain, then something's wrong. It should be, like I said, I would rather it deep in the big muscles and not as much in the little muscles, and it shouldn't be specific to one area. That is going to be, you're gonna have to find in your biomechanics what you're doing biomechanically to do that. And also too, you probably have in your training program, you're not giving enough attention or balance to building that aspect of the body, and maybe you're not in a total body approach. But yeah, you don't want something in one muscle group every time, except in a big muscle group like the lat. I could handle this being really sore all the time. That would be a good thing. All right, like I said, go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Top Velocity, #pitching tips, and ask your question. We'll post it on the show. Check out the 3X Velocity camps coming up very soon. Get into camp, come down and work with us, come down and train with us. We'd love to have you, and thanks for watching the show, and we'll catch you next time.
Boys.